The Sports Scope, the most influential sports talk show in the nation.
What is today, the 19th?
Stay tuned for updates and great sports content.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 9th day of September here. I just got some breaking news. Christian McCaffrey won't play tonight. Another big blow for the 49ers. And, of course, $700-something thousand game check fine for Hassan Reddick, who has just not showed up to game one for the Jets on the other side. Got a great show with you for tonight, though. Somehow, up until now, I think maybe the narrative will change, but we live in a bizarre world. Tyreek Hill's been made into some kind of victim for not rolling his window down and not being cooperative with the Miami PD. Now the body cam footage is out. And I'll play a little bit of that. Hopefully, we'll have have good sound on that. But we'll play a little bit of that tonight. Also, Daniel Jones, rough day view back. Rough game back for Daniel Jones. Dak Prescott signs big contract here, and the 31-year-old, 4 years, $60 million. Going to get into that. Going to get into the Daniel Jones stuff and a little bit more here on the Real Sports Scope. Let's take our first and only set of a few announcements here and break. And I'll be back here shortly here on Sports Scope, and we'll hit the ground running. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to sports, that is sports with an S, another S, scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program.
I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on Sports Scope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports. Thanks. To get the National Streaming Sports channel on your Roku TV, channel search National Streaming Sports. There's the channel search in Roku. There's our logo right on the right, NESSP. Tap on the logo and it will add to your TV, the channel to your TV. On your laptop, tablet, and mobile phone, download the free Roku app and channel search just like above. National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures, college football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds, NBA odds of division winners and playoffs, Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds, the National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds, and boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners, also during the game. Use our link on our website, nessp.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
All righty then, I'm back here. Hey, Pickles, good to see you. All right, now, I've got some notes that I've made about this and some research on this Tyreek Hill thing. It's kind of blown up into something bigger than what it should be. The police was put on administrative leave. I guess that's some kind of public relation thing from the police department. Also, just minutes ago, the body cam footage was released from this situation here. And I'm going to play it. I really hope that you all can hear this. If not, I will tell you verbatim of what these officers are saying to Tyreek Hill as this thing is being initiated. It's all over the internet. You can look at R Butler 723 on the X out, which I've got it posted as well. Okay, so Tyreek Hill was driving a McLaren 720S car, and it's about a $350,000 sports car. Looks like a Lamborghini. Top speed is 212 miles an hour. Now, that's not what he was booked at, but he was given a reckless driving ticket, which usually, not sure about Florida, but Tennessee, it's usually around 20 miles over the speed limit. In a highly congested area, they said he was being uncooperative, was temporarily detained. Later said, if it wasn't Tyreek Hill, says, if I wasn't Tyreek Hill, what would the police have done to me, to one reporter? And no reporters. I've looked at this all afternoon while I'm preparing for the program, and I'm dealing with a migraine headache. I really would get animated. But not one reporter asked him, how fast do you think you were going, Tyreek? Not one, not ESPN, not NFL Network, not local media down in the South Florida area, not nobody. And we are 3 years removed from Henry Ruggs hitting a woman going well over 100 miles an hour, rear-ending a lady outside of Vegas, and her car burning up with her dog inside alive, okay? We're also about a year or so removed from Jalen Carter and his teammate at Georgia, his last year at Georgia, dying in a car, got killed street racing. And we're about 6 months removed from Rashid Rice street racing and what looked like about a 6 or 7 car pileup running away from the scene of an accident, which somebody could have got killed. But Tyreek Hill is a victim because he tells the media that he is a victim, okay? So let's hear the body cam, and then, like this reporter said, finally, you be the judge. We'll play it, Pickles, and tell me if you can hear this thing. Okay, you can hear that loud car right there. That's the car they're walking up on. He's parked up on the side of the road, somewhere outside of Hollywood Stadium in Miami. Listen up. Okay, the cop walks up to his car, getting pulled over. I went to driving school. My dad, who watches the program, at 15, Tyreek's 30. At 15 years old, I went to driving school in the state of Florida. All right, I did do that. And the first thing when the police comes up to your car is roll the window down. The first and have your license in your hand and your hand on the steering wheel. I mean, that's driving 101. Tyreek Hill in this situation, windows rolled. By the way, I watch Live Patrol. It's a live police interaction show. It's like Cops, but it's live. It used to be called Live PD. It's been moved to Reels. Okay. And that window of Tyreek Hill looks like it was painted on. Okay. That what I could tell you from the outside looking in, that is an illegal tint. You're supposed to be able to see inside. That's pretty much 50 states. That window looked like it was painted on, and he wouldn't roll that window down. And Pickle says, make your hands visible. And he had his seatbelt off. And he did. Okay, so listen up. So he gives him his license. The guy says, do what you got to do. Tyreek is saying all this and that. And he rolls his window back up as the cop was still talking to him. The cop says, keep your window down. Keep your window down while the window's still up. The cop is standing there. He's looking back. These are motorcycle policemen doing radar on Sunday morning.
Hey, keep your window down. Keep your window down. I want to get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
He said, what I tell you. So he knocks on the window again. Tyreek Hill says, what I tell you. What I tell you. And then you heard what the cop said. Hey, keep your window down. Matter of fact, get out of the car. So now they're taking him out of the car. Here's more from it. Listen up.
Get out of the car. Give me that. Break the freaking window. Get out of the car. Get out of the car right now. We're not playing this game. Get out. 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 What part of college do you understand?
Okay. You could say maybe they were a little excessive. They're saying, get out, get out. They've told him to get out like 5 times. And he's sitting there looking at them. And then finally the cop opens up the door, which looks like something out of the Back to the Future. And then so they grab him and pull him out. Well, if a cop asks you to do something, do it. All right? Just do it. More of it. At this point, they've got him down. They're putting handcuffs on him. And he is down on the pavement. So that's the video we saw yesterday trending on the X app and the internet of him on the ground. And it looks bad. It looks like some Rodney King stuff, but it's nowhere near that if you watch the body cam.
Hey, Drew, I'm getting arrested, Drew. I'm getting arrested. I'm getting arrested, Drew.
He's hollering at one of the teammates who rolled past him. They can see him because it's pretty close to the stadium. He says, I'm getting arrested, Drew. They're still trying to put handcuffs on him. Listen up more. So there is some cursing here. So just kind of overlook the language, folks.
When we tell you to do something, you do it. You understand? You understand? Not for you, but what we tell you. You're fucking confused. I'm getting out, bro. Too late. All right, bro. Take me to jail, bro. Do what you gotta do, bro. We are. We will. Good, bro. It is good. Hey. Don't worry about it. I have him up the phone. You stop crying. Bro. Come on. Bro, you beating on my window like you crazy. You set him up? Why y'all beating on my window like y'all crazy for?
They're not supposed to beat on his window. Well, how are you supposed to get the driver's license? You know? I mean, this is a typical, entitled, overpaid athlete. You heard it here first because nobody else will say it. More from the body cam video. He's calling somebody twin. That's one of the players from the Dolphins that's seeing this on the road coming in. And it's about 1:53 in. Listen up. So they got him up on his feet now, walking in handcuffs. And then another teammate pulls over. I think that was Calais Campbell Pickles that pulls over. And the cops tell him, don't park there. Don't park. And he's doing it anyways because he thinks the world revolves around him because he's a pro athlete. I don't do that as a normal person. I'm a medical carrier. I drive all the time. I've got pulled over 2 or 3 times over the last 9 years. I'm still respectful, even though I can make an argument that I should be in a hurry because I carry blood stats. More from the body cam video. They asked him to sit down 2 or 3 times, and then he wouldn't sit down, and so they're sitting him down on the. I've seen this on Live Patrol all the time, so he won't run because they don't know who he is, and he's complaining about surgery on his knee, and he just played an NFL game. I mean, come on with the surgery on your knee, come on, man, and he had a touchdown too.
I just told you in your ears when we chill, bro. Hey, don't do, bro. Hey,
And then he's saying, call Drew. That's Drew Rosenhaus. That's his agent who's crying foul. So he's still hollering at Drew, another teammate. And now the other cops see this other player from the Dolphins. I think it's this Calais Campbell. And he gets out of the car approaching them cops like he's, like he's their supervisor or something. He's a teammate because these guys are entitled. The world revolves around them.
Hey, man, they got Tyreek. The cops over there beating on him, man. They over there beating on Tyreek, man.
Don't park there, man. Just get in the car.
Drew, you gotta go, man.
Just get in the car.
So that's the teammate saying call Drew and all this.
Get in the car. You're parked in the middle of the street.
I'm in the car. You gotta go before you get up, Tiki.
I'm in the car.
Who's the driver?
So that's 3 times. Get in the car. Get in the car. They're parked on. They're blocking traffic as if the police have kidnapped him. Here's more from the body cam.
This is my car. All right, move. You gotta move right now. Let me have your license. You're gonna have to get to.
So finally, the cop said, hey, well, give me your license in. You're going to stand up here and hold up traffic while we're impeding investigation. Yeah, I don't blame the cops. Kudos to the Miami PD.
Let me have your license. I'm leaving. I'm not playing. Let me have your license. Your license right now. Your license right now. You're not gonna give me a license? Hey, you're not gonna give me a license? I'm leaving. Let me have your license. Your license right now. Hey, your license right now. Or I'm gonna lock you up. Your license right now. Your license right now. You're dealing with me now. Your license right now.
So he went on and got his license. He finally realized that you're not in control of this situation just because you play for the Miami Dolphins. Kudos to the Miami Police Department. On a personal note, I was thinking about going down there in February sometime to check out Miami. I saw Tampa this past year, and with police like that running it, that's why Miami's crime statistics have went down. I think that's the way it should be done. You shouldn't be intimidating the police department like that. Dangerous, aggressive cop. Pickles think Drew Holzer acts like he was an insane and deal. He's privileged, man. And then the cop was a little aggressive, but you have to see the fact that he had that Nintendo window rolled up and wouldn't roll it down, and then telling the cop what to do instead of taking instructions. I get pulled out of the car if I get smart like that, but he's not supposed to. No, I think the law should go by everybody equally. So kudos to the police. If I knew who those guys was, I'd buy them bagels or donuts or whatever. I'm tired of these entitled athletes, and we pay for that crap too. We the fan bases pay for that. Pay that $30 million. That's the same police department that watches his back and the rest of that team's back while they're in that stadium, so some nut job can't shoot up the stadium or run on the field and assault one of the players. Those are the guys like Tyreek Hill, who's flashing everything, who gets robbed. He won't act like that if he's calling them to make a police report for insurance purposes in his apartment or house or whatever. So I don't know. I think it's about respect, and I really like that attitude. I'm going to send something to him on the X out and saying kudos to the Miami PD. So he got put on administrative leave for that because that was essentially a public relations move, if you ask me. I think they should get an award for that, not putting up with that crap from these. So listen to. I didn't mean to make this big a deal of this, but the media's blowing it up so much. I figured I'd go ahead and tackle it because nobody else is going to do it. They're all fanboys of the players. This is Mike McDonald getting emotional talking about the Tyreek Hill getting detained on Sunday.
It's been hard for me not to find myself more upset the more I think about it. And that's because of, my teammates and trying to put myself in that emotion or in that situation that they've described emotionally. And then knowing more than that, I think the thing that fucks me up, honestly, to be quite frank, is knowing that I don't know exactly. I don't know what that feels like. I think it's very, very important that that two things should be true. That I think you let due process work, and
He should have said that at the beginning. Let due process work. And for the record, he's black, half black himself. Give me a break. Pickle says he's getting upset over a hangnail. I mean, wow. And they won the game. For that crap right there, I hope they lose the rest of the games of the season, be honest with you. I'm just so sick of this entitlement with these athletes. And you know something, Pickles? The NFL makes me and you pay for that. This is what the NFL has been doing. There's 3 different streaming services we have to pay for to watch. I didn't get it. I wanted to watch that Philadelphia game. Meanwhile, the players are slipping and sliding in that god-awful field in Brazil on Friday night. We've got to pay, which I've already got, but still, Netflix to see a game. We've got to pay Amazon to see a game. And then Friday, we got to pay Peacock, which I didn't watch it. I just didn't watch it. I watched some of the highlights on the web. I watched a few of the plays there. And, of course, Jordan Love, because the NFL agreed, you can make the argument that maybe his injury had something to do with that slick field that the players were playing on. He's got some kind of MCL sprain. He's going to be out a minimum of 3 weeks. And Tyreek Hill makes $30 million a year. And then, mind you, folks, we are 3 years removed from Henry Ruggs rear-ended a woman and her dog burning up. Wouldn't you rather Henry Ruggs got pulled over like that for speeding a week ahead of time, and maybe that woman will be alive today? Maybe you think, maybe I shouldn't do 110, 125 miles an hour in this Corvette. Maybe if he had his ego bruised a little bit because the cop actually stopped him and didn't kiss his rear end, maybe he wouldn't be in prison right now with his career likely to be over with. Just saying, have a little perspective and have respect. Listen, these guys are under a lot of stress. They deal with drug dealers. They deal with people out of their mind. They deal with people that are drunk. They deal with people that are on drugs. They got a lot of crap. Be respectful. All he had to do is roll that window down, hand his license. My bad. I was speeding. I'm on my way to the game. That's all he had to do. All right. Or here's a warning. Or, hey, you were driving recklessly. Here's $100 whatever ticket, and then you're gone. You're on your way. Then you're on, and none of that had to happen. But instead, he rolls his window up. He's telling the guy, "No, knock on." What am I supposed to do if you got your window rolled up? What am I supposed to do? Of course, they're paranoid, wouldn't you? I'd be paranoid. I notice these other cops are real paranoid when it comes to that. But anyways, I didn't mean to make this the big deal, but the media makes it a big deal, And I got to respond because they're all kissing their rear end. NFL gets big time food stamp money. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Pickles. So anyways, that's what happened off the field. They did win the game. He got over 100 yards. He got a touchdown, But I'm not pulling for him no more. I'll tell you that. But I didn't pull for him anyways. If I call for him to win, I said they wouldn't make the playoffs this year. But maybe I'm wrong, Maybe I'm wrong. Other news, Dak Prescott, all this happened Sunday morning just before the game kicked off. 31 years old, signs 4-year, $60 million contract, typical of Jerry Jones. I like Dak. He's the opposite of a Tyreek Hill type of guy. I get it. But if you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, Dak makes $60 million next year. CeeDee Lamb makes $34 million. You put that together. That's next year. The salary cap is estimated to go up to 260. That is over 40%. That's 40% of your salary. So if those two go down, not only are you in jeopardy of losing, you might be able to get the number one pick if those two went down out of 53 players. That's 40%, 2 players of your whole cap. Not to mention Michael Parsons is coming up. And Jerry's going to pay him top dollar as well. So, it was a good win for him today. Yesterday, he did play better than I thought he would. The Dallas Cowboys, fortunate for them, they do draft well. They held that pass rush in check. If you look at it, they held the pass rush in check. What did he have there? I want to see. I don't think he even got sacked at all in that particular game, now that I think about it. And, of course, they won going away. That game was never really close here. I actually picked Cleveland to win that game, So the flip side is you got Deshaun Watson, whose calf hit is pretty close this year to what Dak's going to be next year. And you could see those two banged up. Defensive player of the week might have been Michael Parsons, by the way. He very well may have been Michael Parsons. Had 9 pressures today, the most of any player in week 1. And Pickle says, Derek, his kids played well. Yeah, it was a good win for him. And for the record, I did put them in the playoffs. I didn't have them beating the Eagles, but I did put them in the playoffs as a wild card, as the very last wild card in the playoffs. So staying in the NFC East, and Daniel Jones, wow. First game back, 5 sacks, 2 interceptions, 22 for 42. QBR, his rating was 44. And man, they get beat 28-6 at home. And here is a little clip here. I got this off the TikTok app of
she will never be respected by other men in other countries.
Got this off the TikTok app of him walking, leaving the stadium after the game. This is from Bleacher Report.
I need a bell, Danny. I need a bell. I need a bell, Danny. I need a bell.
I do feel bad when they get that. But Daniel Jones, I found this stat online today. Bleacher Report also put this on the X app. Daniel Jones has thrown 3 pick sixes and only 2 touchdowns since signing his 4-year, $160 million deal. Of course, he got hurt last year. More pick sixes than touchdowns since signing bonus. I mean, then you got to look at the fact that he knows publicly, and the world knows publicly, that the team tried to trade up to the 3rd pick with the Patriots to get Drake May in the draft this past year. Pickles. I'm not laughing at the agony of Daniel Jones. That $160 million probably make him feel better about himself. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't count his rookie contract. I'm laughing at that video, at that soundbite, because it reminds me of Wedding Singer. It reminds me of Wedding Singer, that part where Adam Sandler, which I think No, it's not Wednesday. They're going to make another one of Happy Gilmore. That's the golf movie. I was thinking they're making a sequel, but hope not, because Wednesday was really good. It probably wouldn't be as good on the sequel. But there's a scene there where Adam Sandler character is going outside of this wedding and talking to the Drew Barrymore character. It's just like the first 10 minutes of the movie. And, Sandler's the wedding singer, and he's helping this kid who's underage drinking. He's helping him throw up in the trash can, and he's really sick. And they said, well, who's going to sing up here? They said, well, there's this Boy George impersonator, and this Boy George guy gets on the stage, and he only knows one song by Boy George. Do you really want to hurt me? So he's singing that song, and Sandler, was having his first encounter with the Drew Barrymore character, I guess she was having a cigarette or something. She's going out and get some air. And he's still talking, and he said, well, just have Boy George do another song. So he does the same song over. And then towards the end of the song, people started saying, get off the stage, you suck. And then you can hear his friend come back out there and say, hey, they're really turning on Boy George. You might want to get back in there. Oh, man. Lord forgive me. I don't know how sick sense of humor there, Pickles. I don't know what strike me as funny. I know he's a human being, but he'll be all right. He'll be all right. There's people out there digging ditches for money, This guy takes a little verbal damage there from takes a little verbal heat there from people. He'll be okay. All right. What else do we have here? I kind of did the show a little backwards. That Tyreek Hill stuff got so much under my skin, the way the media acts like he was just like that was a Rodney King situation, for those of you who've been around, cops beating a guy up in 1991, caused major riots there 30 years ago, but still. This is what I wanted originally to open up the show with. All right. Working backwards, Pickles, working backwards. So over the weekend so far, I think week 1 was the worst so far quality of play. Even sloppy, even sharp offenses like Miami. Speaking of Miami, Tua, early in that game, missed Tyreek Hill on a wide open touchdown. It was just wide open touchdown. And he did later on get one. And I mentioned the fact that in the Browns at home with Deshaun Watson, 6 sacks, 2 interceptions, defense pick 6 by him. And, of course, I'll lean into Levis on Thursday. In the Tennessee game as well. The only games that I really thought that were played clean was the very first one. And that was the Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. And that was on Thursday. The Detroit Rams game, not bad. Not bad. But that's 2 games. That's the rest of them. Will Levis didn't look like he was properly prepared, and the coach gave him the second game off of the preseason completely. Didn't play any, and he needed to work. He needed to work. Not to mention the fact that the Bengals got beat by a team that most people's picking to get the number 1 pick. Well, he had 2 receivers down. One of them had a hamstring injury because they're not practicing. That's why. My dad used to tell me that's for being out of shape. And that was from, I think that was Higgins. And, of course, Chase, who's blown off all of camp, he was under the weather, so he barely did anything. And I look at this, and there's only 16 padded practices during training camp, preseason, and 14 padded practices during the regular season, according to this new CBA. Players wanted that over money. And the Bengals look like a team in the second week of training camp instead of the week one in the regular season losing to New England. You know? With this product, tickets should be half price, folks. They should be half, because you're getting a half product. I mean, you got holding, face mask, horse collar, overthrow, routine outs, and Carlos said he made the point the other day. You got to wait 6 games and get a good game nowadays. It's because they don't want to practice. Remember the Allen Iverson practice, not a game. Well, you need practice to play the game. You need practice. But I mentioned earlier, you've got players slipping all over the place in Brazil, where Jordan Love sprained his MCL. And like I said earlier, they're making viewers paid for 3 separate streaming services. 3 separate streaming services. So you got to look all over the place to find an NFL game now. And, you know, the NFL and the Players Association, in my opinion, I just think they're taking advantage of the fans. And eventually the empire, the Roman Empire did fall, right? I'm just saying, man. I mean, how much more y'all going to put on us fans here? It's just, and then on top of that, they take a big dump all of these cops like they're just doing their job, you know. But anyways, it was the worst week one. And I understand week one's like that every year. It's been like that every year for a long time. I get it. But that's the worst week one I've ever seen. That is the worst week one I've ever seen. Pickle says half of the Rams offensive line gets hurt. See, now, I do like a lot of schemes that Sean McVay has conveyed over the years. Offensively, I think he's a young, bright mind. A lot of respect for him. I like the fact that he showed maturity, and he's secure with himself when he hired Wade Phillips, a much older defensive coordinator, to run the defense. I'm sure he got some tips from Wade Phillips, old enough to be his grandfather, technically. And that worked out. Now he's kind of grown into this job, but he was the first not to play any starters in the preseason. Not to play any starters in the preseason. Now you're wondering why you got soft tissue injury after soft tissue injury. You know, calf injury, hamstring. So I just, and of course we had to pay for it. Pickle says Noteboom got hurt starting center. Yeah, I had them winning the West, but I also had them losing last night. Carlos picked the Rams. I picked them, and I wanted to play. I'll probably clip it, and I'll show it to you. I'll send it out on my social media sites later. 20. I had them 27-20 Detroit. It was 26-20 in overtime. If that happens in regular time, they always kick the extra point. I would have nailed that score exactly. You know. But anyways, at this point, it is what it is, folks. I don't know. I just think it's just, I don't like this bad play. I'm all about player safety. I know they give a lot, but I also think that we give up too much. The NFL is constantly taking advantage of the fans. You know, all I'm saying is, if you're going to put a half-hearted product out there like you did this past Sunday, past Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and today is Monday, drag that out for 4 days. The people in the stands should play half price for that first game. Half price. And kudos to Arthur Blank for not charging the crazy stadium prices down in Atlanta, although they did lose. So a couple announcements, folks, I want to make before I forget, and I wanted to check with early. Thursday, Jason Pattison will be on the program. Jason Pattison is he covers the Kansas City Chiefs, and I do not have what outlet he's with, but he's got a lot of stuff here. And Jason Pattison, I'll have more information on him Thursday. Tomorrow, I've got to get some artwork done on my car. You know, it's all part of the process here. Got to get a wrap put on and all this stuff. Some local company here, I can't remember the name, and that might have been something by the city. But I'm going to have it on for a few months. It's going to help me pay for advertising for this program, right? And I got to go down to another county to get it done. I got to drop off my car there tomorrow, leave it there overnight, pick it up Wednesday. The problem is it's in another county. I have to do it after work. It takes a while for me to get home. It doesn't give me the proper time to prepare for the program. So there's not going to be a show tomorrow nor Thursday. There'll be a replay. I'll show some of the replays here, and I'll replay this show. But anyways, so Thursday, I'm going to record, because he's got a live show, Jason Pattison. I'm going to do an interview a couple hours before the show for about 20 minutes with him. He's going to give me a heads up on what the Chiefs are doing this year and how they're looking as far as their injury situation. I may ask him about Rashee Rice. What did he think? What does he hear is going on with that? And we'll have to ask him about Xavier Worthy, who got 2 touchdowns, Pickles, in his debut. He might be the next Tyreek Hill. Hopefully he's not driving these cars the way he's running, right? But he may be the next best thing. And these guys got a shot. They got a shot to win it again. Now, I will say this. I was impressed. I wasn't impressed much with anything, but I was impressed with the way that that the Chargers played yesterday. I was impressed with that, particularly in their running game, which they've lacked over the years because they didn't have a good, competent head coach. J.K. Dobbins, for all of you Ohio State, John Restano, that's the best I've ever seen him look, and he's came back from multiple injuries. Running back J.K. Dobbins, former Baltimore Raven, he's got good blocking up front. He's getting the ball handed to him at the right situation for him to be successful. 10 carries, 135 yards. That's the player I saw at Ohio State. That's the guy I thought that was going to be the next Ray Rice with the Baltimore Ravens. And the Ravens just didn't use him right, Pickles. They didn't use him like they used because the offense is totally different under Lamar Jackson. Yeah, so J.K. Dobbins, former Baltimore Raven, 10 carries, 135 yards, touchdown. Gus Edwards, also former Raven, 11 carries for 26 yards. And the rookie, Ladd McConkey, speedster out of Georgia. What to say? He was their second-round pick. Their first-round pick was Joe Alt. But 5 catches, 39 yards for the rookie and a touchdown in his debut. Quentin Johnson, 3 catches, 38 yards. So these are supposed to be the guys who was they're supposed to let the Chargers down. Quentin Johnson saw as possibly being a bust. Ladd McConkey wasn't as highly sought after as his teammate Brock Bowers, who went into the first round with the Raiders. But Bowers did get 6 catches, 58 yards. But the LA wins 22-12. Herbert played pocket all day, 17 for 26, 144, and 1 touchdown. A lot of short passes. 5 yards an attempt for Justin Herbert. In case you missed it the other day, I said Herbert will be the MVP of the league. Justin Herbert be MVP of the league. And they'll make the playoffs. Now, can they beat this Kansas City team? I don't know. All I know is they're not going to beat themselves under Jim Harbaugh the way they did under Brandon Staley. They're not going to blow. Was it a 28-point lead at one time against Jacksonville that they blew a couple years ago in the playoffs? Jacksonville comes back, wins the game at home. That ain't going to happen with Harbaugh. They'll be more physical. They'll run the ball. They'll convert first downs. And I think Harbaugh's like 5-0 as a head coach in debuts or something like that in season openers. Let's see. I think I had that stat wrote down somewhere. And then the Browns signed Kadarius Toney. Also, Field of Dreams, Sandlot star. I'm all over the place tonight. James Earl Jones, 93 years old, passed away today. And for some of you older audiences, that's also the voice of Darth Vader. And remember this, Pickles? This is CNN. I didn't know that until later that was James Earl Jones that made the famous CNN, who, that started June 1st, 1981, 1980. Yeah, excuse me. But he passed away today at 93 years old. He could sing, too. Listen to him here. James Earl Jones getting a moving recital of the national anthem. This is the 1993 All-Star game in Baltimore. Listen up. It's different.
By the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hail at the twilight's
More of a monologue, but still. Powerful voice.
whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, can that star-spangled
That's pretty good.
banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
That was a great national anthem. That was 1993 in Baltimore, Pickles. In Baltimore, Camden Yards, when they were pretty good with Cal Ripken Jr. I was looking at that. A young Barry Bonds in 93. Boy, he was great then, wasn't he? Cal Ripken Jr. there. And Sandlot's one of my favorite movies. He was the guy who played with Babe Ruth in the movie. Pickle says, hired by Ted Turner, voice of CNN. Pickle says, it makes me want to salute. Yeah, I love that guy. And obviously, for you Lion King fans, and Mufasa from Lion King, one of the greatest movies of all time, in my opinion. So, and Pickles, you're right. Puka Nacua has a PCL sprain and is a candidate for injured reserve, which means he'll have to miss at least 4 games. So, yeah, the Rams are in all kinds of a mess here. I may have totally missed out on that one. Seattle, by the way, may be in the driver's seat in the NFC West. Now, it's a long season. If you win your division at the end, I remember one year Seattle won with a losing record. And they end up beating like 11. They end up beating a good 11-5. I want to say it was like 2010 or something. It was the year that Atlanta was really good. One of their years where they would do good and get put out in the first round because Matt Ryan would fold like a cheap suit. But I want to say Atlanta won the South that year, but a Drew Brees led Saints team, that was, I want to say it was 10, went up there and lost to Seattle when they had a losing record and won their division. Marshawn Lynch, huge game that day. A lot of big runs. That was a Legion of Boom. I want to say 2 years later, they ended up winning the Super Bowl when they got Russell Wilson there. So a lot of stuff going on all over the place. You know, got caught up doing 2 or 3 things at once here. I will go over some of these other games, and I did. I'm recording a game I didn't notice by accident. The Jets are ironically up 7-3. Speaking of the Devils here, you know. But like I said, overall assessment, a lot of sloppy play. I think the NFL should step up and do something about that. I don't know if you don't want to make hitting, if you don't want to hit, at least don't charge the fans full price for the first game because it's sloppy as all get out. And all these injuries is born. Most of that is born off training camp. You have to get your body ready to play the game, you know. And Pickles don't think they're in game shape. That is years and years of not playing any starters in the preseason. I think that's what it is. Now, I know they won the Super Bowl already. He's been doing that for years. I remember when Dan Campbell, when he first got to the Rams, this was in the Hard Knocks there. They were hitting the first day, and the players were looking at him funny. He said, listen, guys, I know you're looking at me funny here, but studies say if the more we do this early, the better off we'll be late. The more we do this early, the better we'll be off late. And they didn't do nothing that year, but the next year was last year, and they were in the NFC Championship game. I got them going to the Super Bowl, okay? I've got Cincinnati beating them in the Super Bowl. Now, Cincinnati's got to get their act together, losing to the worst team in football, which will probably show up to be later on. And Pickle says Campbell learned a lot as a player, you know. I think he did. I thought he was a joke at first. But you seen what they're doing now. They've got Jameis Williams playing well. The Packers are going to be set. Now, Minnesota, I forgot to even mention that about the Daniel Jones thing. Kudos to Brian Flores for that defense there. Pick 6 in that game. And also from Kevin O'Connell, who I've been high on since last year, doing a good job there with Sam Darnold, getting him up to par. Other than he had one bad throw all day for Minnesota. And as I mentioned, if things fall off with them, if I'm management and ownership in Minnesota, I keep Kevin O'Connell. All he needs is a somewhat competent quarterback. Now, he lost his quarterback in training camp. Remember, McCarthy's done for the year. J.J. McCarthy, former Michigan Wolverine. So, if you like the show, folks, please share the show. Pickle says the Big Lebowski with Dan Campbell. Yeah, he is. He looks like that guy, don't he? I bet he's a good bowler. Dan Campbell looks like a guy that hangs out at the bowling alley all day, that drinks big pitchers of beer and bowls like 250. So, David Spade says he's the guy at the lunch table that nobody gives any crap to in prison. That's what he looks like. I thought that was funny, comedian David Spade. Like I said, Thursday, I'll be back live. Obviously, I'm going to touch on the Titans. Going to touch on college football. There are probably a few games I missed. I know it is. It's not. I couldn't get it all covered in 1 hour, but I'll have Jason Patterson on, and for the second, it'll be a recorded interview, but it'll be the second half of the program. I'll have it come on immediately. You just hang out on SportsScope, and it'll come back on here on the Real SportsScope for the second half of the show. Then I'll close it out by then. And I appreciate, Jason, you wanting to come on the program, and I will give you, I think he is from Horizon Center Outfitters, what he says. I'll have to get some more information on his outlet, though. Reached out to me on the Facebook app, and I greatly, Pickle says Jeff Bridges. and his name is Patty. He spells it like Patty Mayonnaise from Doug, the cartoon there, folks. But anyways, again, like the show, share the show. I'll be back live on Thursday. And, of course, Friday, if he's got enough nerve to come on, I'll have the Mad New Yorker back on the program. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again Thursday. But make sure and tune in. I'll probably replay some of my best hits here tomorrow and whatnot. So I'll see you then tomorrow here on the Real SportsScope.